Alright, so 10 Cloverfield Lane came out in 2016 and was directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who just did the recent Predator prequel, Prey. Now, this movie is not quite like Cloverfield. It's a sequel, but it doesn't have the same style and feel as the first one. This is almost a completely different movie, but it is connected to Cloverfield. It's not found footage. This is, regular traditional movie, and it's about a woman who gets in a car accident and she wakes up in a doomsday bunker with these two men, and they claim that the outside world, the world above them, has been attacked with chemicals, and that they can't go up for a year or two because the air is not safe. But they don't know if it's the Martians or if it's the Russians. They don't know. I do remember seeing this when it first came out. I'm not sure if it was at the theaters or at home, but I didn't watch it again until last year when I bought the 3-pack DVD collection and loved it. Checking it out this time, third time watching it, I still love it, and I could not find a single flaw with it. I think it works from beginning to end. I've read that a lot of people have issues with the last 10 minutes and they wish it didn't go down that route, but I think it had to for it to be a Cloverfield movie, and I like that it went in that direction. I think the whole movie works. Now, getting into what I love about the movie is Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's like my crush. I love her, and she was in Final Destination 3, another masterpiece in my opinion. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but she just is terrific in everything. She's never done a bad movie so far that I know of, and she's amazing. She's a really talented actress, and we got John Goodman in this playing an antagonist, and he's a pretty big fella. He's intimidating, and he gets a little crazy at times, and then he also makes me crack up when he does that dance. There's a moment in the movie when he starts dancing, and it's pretty hilarious. And then you got John Gallagher Jr. playing sort of the love interest, but they never really go that far with it, thankfully. I'm glad they didn't force a love interest just to have one. They're kind of flirting a little bit, but it's actually her trying to, she's doing it for a reason. But it's he's more like the comic relief character more than the love interest. But they do have a nice friendship, and I like their chemistry together, and the dialogue in this movie just was very amusing. I liked the attempts at humor at the dinner table, and just how they're making John Goodman's character lose his mind. They just kept pissing him off. And I think it's just a great, simple, one location concept. The three people trapped in a bunker. They're convinced that the world above is destroyed, or there's a nuclear chemical attack. They can't go up, so they're just trapped together. But what happens when you're trapped with someone who's potentially a psycho or a kidnapper, a rapist? Who knows who these people are? Just imagine being this woman with these two guys, and especially the one guy who seems like he's off his rocker. It's a terrifying concept. Pretty simple one also, and it just works. And I like that the whole first act is more about skepticism. You're not quite sure what's going on. You're not buying what he's selling. You're questioning it. Is he telling the truth? Is there really something going on upstairs? And if there is it exactly what he's saying? Is it the Russians or is it the Martians? He brings both of them up. He's not sure himself, and you're not sure if he's just lying just to get her there. Is it just some weird trick to lure women down there and make them stay with him? And these characters that we're stuck in this bunker with are all great, fleshed out characters. I just thought this movie had amazing tension, during the dinner table scene, and there's a board game that they play later on. There's a good fake out there. There's some really good tension. It just had me on the edge of my seat. Some really good suspense, and I love where it goes in the last 10 minutes. I thought that's where it needed to go. To me, I think it's just a flawless script. It's very cleverly written with little twists, here and there, and just I love how everything's revealed, and I just thought it was pretty gripping. I had nothing to complain about. So final thoughts, I thought this was a phenomenal movie with the perfect cast of terrific actors, great tension, good use of one location, and an excellent pace. So when it comes to 10 Cloverfield Lane, highly recommend checking it out. I'm giving it 5 out of 5. All right, so spoiler discussion. In the very beginning, we see her packing her bags. She leaves her diamond engagement ring, or just her diamond ring, or whatever, her ring on the table, and grabs the liquor bottle that will be coming into play at the very end. It's a good thing she brought it. And Bradley Cooper is the voice on the phone. He's playing her boyfriend. I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that until I read it in the credits. And so she's hearing on the radio about these widespread blackouts on the southern seaboard. This movie takes place in Louisiana. So yeah, there's a little clue right there. Right away, they establish Michelle as a very smart, strong, brave woman who gets one of the first things she does is she gets her crutch and she sharpens the end of it to stab him with, and then since he won't show up, she gets impatient waiting for him to show up, so she starts a fire in the AC vent. And so yeah, and then but of course that doesn't really work out. She barely nicks him with it. And so I love that his doomsday bunker has a welcome mat. And he has all these DVDs and VHSs, but no Blu-ray. And then they end up watching this movie called Cannibal something. I looked it up. It doesn't seem to exist. And so yeah, and then she sees that his truck has her car's red paint on it, so he's the one that rammed her off the road, which he does admit to later, but you have to question, did he do it on purpose? His story is that he accidentally hit her off the road because he was in a hurry, but I like to believe that he did it on purpose because he wanted to bring a woman down there. I mean, her room is half pink. At some point he was painting that room pink, and then for some reason had to stop at some point. And so therefore he was always going to have a woman down there in that room. Michelle at the dinner table starts flirting with Emmett because she knows it's going to get under Howard's skin and piss him off. And she does it to steal his keys, and then she gets to the top, and we see this sick woman with this disfigured face, and again, you're like, what's going on? You're still not quite sure. Is it chemical warfare, or is it something extraterrestrial? You're still not quite sure because what she's saying on the other end is oh, it barely touched me. What is it? Aliens, or is she just referring to the chemicals? We get this happy times montage, just a montage of them having a good time, doing puzzles and watching movies. But I have to assume that this montage isn't weeks and months of time going by, because by the end of it, Emmett is still in his sling. So I would assume this is maybe a montage of a week, maybe 2 at best. This is all probably still the same week by the end of the movie. If you look closely, there's a scene where she crawls through the air vents, and then when she gets to the other side, she sees a letter on the ground, and the mail, the address on that mail says 10 Cloverfield Lane. And we get that reveal of what the address is later on when she crashes into the mailbox and it says 10 Cloverfield Lane, but this is the first time you can see that the address is 10 Cloverfield Lane. And then we get another turning point in the movie where we realize that Howard really is a psycho. It's he's clearly a little off the whole time, but you're not quite sure if he's a killer or anything. But then she finds that message on the window that says help, like some woman's fingernails or something was clawing at it. There's blood and a bloody earring, and then she shows the picture of what she thinks is Howard's daughter. I forget the name, but Megan, and she shows it to Emmett, and he's like, that's not his daughter. She went to Chicago, so it's holy shit, he brought some random woman who's been missing for 2 years, he said. So how many has he killed? Like, he's just constantly bringing women down there to like replace his daughter that moved to Chicago. So yeah, he's been a psycho way before Doomsday. Then we get this card game, and I love the fake out here, like what he's saying to them. It makes it sound like he's onto them because they're like sneaking around, gathering supplies, and trying to make like some kind of hazmat suit. And so he's like, I see you, and I know what you're doing. But then it's like the answer was Santa Claus. I just thought that was really clever little like fake out there. And so yeah, Howard, right after that, shortly after that, I think it's the same night, he just gets this like barrel of acid and shows it to them, and the scissors and box cutter. He's like, "What the hell are you guys doing with these?" And then Emmett takes the blame, to save Michelle's life, and then he gets shot right in the fucking face. It's pretty shocking. It's like very quick out of nowhere. He's just like, "Yeah, I forgive you." Poof. And then shortly after he kills Emmett, John Goodman's character, he shaves his beard, and it got me thinking, like, I think he's trying to like look sexy for her. Like, he's shaving now. He's like, "All right, I'm the only guy down here." So now, he's trying to look good for her, and he's like giving her ice cream as a treat, like trying to make her happy. And like, if she stayed down there much longer, at what point would it have gotten like darker and he started to like rape her? Like, it was going to go in that direction at some point. But maybe not, because isn't the whole point like he's replacing his daughter and he like sees her as his daughter? I don't know. Would he rape her? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I'm thinking about it now. Like, the whole thing is like he loves his daughter, but she was taken away by his bitch wife, and then so he's painting that room pink, and he's trying to replace his daughter with that one girl that he ended up killing a couple years ago, and now Michelle's character. So I don't know. I think maybe that's why he didn't like them flirting earlier. It's the typical, like, the dad doesn't want the daughter to be dating no boys. So it's like he's being like a protective father figure throughout the movie, not like he loves her. So yeah, I don't think he would have raped her. I take that back. So at some point she gets the barrel and she kicks it over, and he like trips and falls into it. It seemed kind of forced. Like, how did he fall? He could have just like stepped back and walked away. Like, she just kicks the barrel over, and he's in the doorway, and he like falls forward after she kicks it over. Like, I don't know, that just seemed kind of forced, and there should have been a lot more damage on his face afterwards. Like, his face is like bubbling a little bit, and like his face should have been really fucked up. But it's PG-13, so I guess it couldn't have gotten too graphic. We get another great scene that reminded me of Halloween 5. She's in the air vent, and the knife just keeps going through, very much like that scene with Jamie Lloyd in the air vent Halloween 5. And then she gets upstairs and she rips her suit. She starts panicking, but then realizes there's birds flying everywhere, so the air is fine. So what the hell happened? If it's not a chemical attack, if there's not nuclear warfare going on, like, what happened? She kept hearing like what she thought was like helicopters and shit before, but then we find out that it wasn't helicopters, it was UFOs, and there are aliens. So yeah, I liked that reveal, and she sees a UFO and she has a like, "you gotta be fucking kidding me" moment, but she just goes like, "Oh, come on." And I thought that was a good little comedic one-liner. So yeah, then she basically has a battle with this big ass UFO, and she's in a truck, and that bottle she packed at the very beginning of the movie is in there, and her lighter, so she makes like a Molotov cocktail and throws it into like the anus of this UFO, and it blows up. So now she knows its weakness, and she hears on the radio that there's a war going on, and there's still survivors out there in like Austin, so she's gonna go join the fight, and she can tell them how to defeat them. Just gotta throw a Molotov cocktail up their asshole, and boom. So that's the sequel we should have gotten next, not Cloverfield Paradox. So that's a shame. 10 Cloverfield Lane, what are your thoughts on this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.